Right, Golf Shop Onliners, thanks for all your questions. Ask Mark time. Should slow swingers use more flexible shaft and should fast swingers use stiffer shaft is the question. This is one of those questions that go round and round. I've actually done quite a lot of studies into this and tests and what have you. It's a very interesting subject, and I've been lucky enough to see tests and robot tests on these ideas as well. And it's interesting. It's more interesting than the simplistic idea if you want to get right down in the rabbit hole. So the overriding factor when it comes to golf shaft as a whole is that the player's feels are what really dominate the decision and possibly should dominate the decision. Certainly when it comes to basic ideas like flex. So where people think that a certain flex, certainly with a driver over an iron, often a more that heads will overtake or be left behind subject to what the flex is and their speeds. They are things that people feel. They are things that people translate as they hit shots. They hit a bad one and say, see, that was because the shaft was X, Y, Z. But actually when you look close enough at enough people and over enough shots, it actually doesn't come through. So the main point being, if that doesn't come through in the data and their variation is the same with both, then use what feels best. Because at the end of the day, you've got to play it. And if you've got a shaft that just doesn't feel very good, then don't use it. Now, is there a correlation between people liking the feel of stiffer shafts when they swing faster compared to they liking regular shafts when they swing slower? Yeah, there absolutely is. But I've seen tests where they've blacked out the shaft so the golfers can't tell what shaft they're using. And this was a massive study done by an independent body. And what happened is when they hit the shafts knowing what they were, so before they were blacked out, the majority chose the stiffer as their preferred. Then they retested where they blacked the shafts out so people didn't know what they were hitting and they just chose club A or B. And what was interesting is it flipped. It went more for the regular shaft that people enjoyed more when they didn't know. They didn't bring their misconceptions to the table. Some of the more defining factors where you see some shifts in movements when it comes to shaft is weight, heavier to lighter, physical weight. You can move at different speeds, and where again there are some patterns. I've seen golfers who swing lighter shafts slower than they swing heavier because again they don't like the feel of the lighter shaft. So what they do is they slow down and try and control it. Where some golfers, a lighter shaft, they can swish it faster and their speeds go up. Again, player specific. So I wouldn't get too het up on flex to swing speed. I think it's one of those things that were marketed at us when the idea of custom fit came because it made it a more simplistic idea for people to use. Now, if you're watching this video and you're that person who's just like, oh, I can't hit a regular, it needs to be stiff. Cool, use the stiff. The main point is if the data is similar with all, go with what feels the best. If you have a standout shaft that just produces the best data, yeah, it feels awful, go with the best data. But you don't meet many of those people because there aren't many of those real people when you do proper tests. Go with what feels best. You're the one swinging it. You're the one offending the shaft, so pulling and pushing and twisting it on different angles. You need to feel like you can perform. That's the main thing to really apply when it comes to golf shaft. So in answer to your question, go with what feels best, but definitely you do see a correlation between people liking the feel of a stiffer shaft if they swing faster and people who swing slower. They have less of an opinion, to be fair, but sometimes liking the more regular. But again, how much of that is what they're bringing compared to what, if they didn't have those preconceptions before they started, if that would be the results is nearly impossible to tell because the jury is already, they're not neutral, are they? They're coming in with their ideas. Thanks for the question, hope that helps, and thanks for watching.